Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Em, and today we are here to talk about the series that I am going to continue reading in 2024. Last week I posted a video about the series that I am DNFing for this next year. I'll link that down below if you want to check it out. I also, back in October, posted a video about book series that I kind of forgot I was reading and need to reprioritize. I'll link that down below as well. This list is going to be the series that I read in 2023 that I really liked and I am interested in continuing with. So, new list of books. I don't think there's any duplicates from the October video. That sounds interesting to you. I hope you stick around and we'll just dive right in. All right, the first series that is on my list, and this is not in any special type of order, I just wrote them down as I thought of them. So the first series that I'm going to talk about is I Want to Be a Wall. This is a manga series. I read volume 1 just this month, and I really liked how sweet and comforting it was. This is about an asexual woman and a gay man who enter into a marriage of convenience for various reasons. She is tired of being judged by her family and her friends for not being interested in dating and being considered not normal. And he has been tragically in love with his straight best friend his whole life and is tired of being alone, and so they happen to get married, and it's a really sweet story of connecting with another person. I really loved how they were starting to be emotionally intimate with each other, even if there was no interest in being physically intimate. And I just thought that it was just really sweet. And there's only 2 volumes out right now, which I love. I love finding manga that I can get into that is not 10 volumes, 15 volumes, 100 volumes long. So I'm excited to continue with this, and I've heard really good things about volume 1, and it seems to be people like volume 1 or volume 2 even more than they liked volume 1. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Next one is Memoirs of Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. I read this last month, I think, and this is told in memoir style. Lady Isabella is an elderly woman and telling the reader about her, well, in book 1, telling the reader about her childhood and her entry into society. This world is very much like a Victorian British inspired world, but there are dragons just existing in the world. If only. And she, gosh, what was I saying before I got distracted by dragons? Oh, so it goes through her entry into society, meeting her husband, getting married, and then their first exhibition? No, that's not the right word. Expedition. Those are 2 very different words. Expedition with her husband into dragon country, basically, and to study dragons, because at this point not much is known about them. And I really liked Isabella's voice. She was so funny and interesting, and I loved seeing the world through her eyes. There was an emotional punch to this book that I was not anticipating. I just was expecting it to be a fun, good time, and then all of a sudden I was crying. So I'm excited to see where the remainder of the series takes me. I think there are 5 books in total. The next series I am cautiously excited to read. This is the Rages trilogy. I read The Surviving Sky by Kritika H. Rao earlier this year, and it wasn't a favorite, but I found her world building so interesting, and I really liked her character work. I liked all the stuff she had set up, and it was her debut, so I am interested in reading book 2 and seeing where we go, how her writing grows, what happens more with this world. I'm really interested in this project Rao has taken on in writing this series, and I really want to see where it goes, because I feel like she could be a favorite author. Like, there's potential in her debut. So I'm cautiously excited. Oh, and the next series that I am really excited to continue with is the Sinister Summer series by Kirsten White. This is middle grade, and this is about the Sinister Winterbottom siblings whose parents basically abandoned them with their Aunt Sophronia at the beginning of the summer, and then they are going on these really mysterious, kind of eerie, supernatural-ish adventures in each book. I'm about halfway through the series. I have 2 more books to go, and I'm really excited to see how this ending pays off. This is a very fun, lighthearted, not even spooky, like spooky elements, but the storytelling isn't spooky at all. So if you're into like, if you want to be into like gothic horror stuff, but you don't want the seriousness, you want it to be a little bit more like lighthearted, I think this would be fun. Though that's a weird combination of things, but I have a really good time with this series, and I'm excited to see the payoff. I'm also really excited to continue with Dinosaur Sanctuary. This is another manga series that I just absolutely adore. It's one I'm currently caught up on, so I'm basically just waiting for the author to publish more volumes. I don't know how long I have to wait. Volume 3 just came out this fall, so I might have another year to wait. But this is set in an alternate world. It's like our world, but dinosaurs never went extinct. And there are these dino zoos basically all over the world, and we're following one specific dinosaur zoo that is struggling financially, and so the zookeepers are all trying to find ways to engage the public's interest in their dinosaurs. And it's a really fun mix of cozy storytelling and science and information about dinosaurs, and it's a very cozy series. And I think it's an easy manga series to get into, especially if you are a dinosaur fan, and there's only 3 volumes out right now, so it's a series that's got an easy entry into it. The next series I'm excited to read is I think it's just a duology, so I only have to read one more book, but it's the Clown in a Cornfield series. I don't know what to tell you. I read this in October on Halloween, and I read it in a day, and I had the best time with it. It was so fun. It's a slasher. It takes place in a small town in, I think, Missouri, and I don't know. It was such a gory time, but it was also kind of a fun time, and I am really looking forward to reading the sequel, even though I probably won't read it until next Halloween, but that's okay. It's definitely giving me a lot of joy to think about continuing on with this series. But it's about murderous clowns running through cornfields. I wrote down the Brightfall series by Ashley Herring Blake. I've read the first 2. I think I have 1 left to read. I'm reconsidering if I'm actually excited about this series anymore. I really loved Delilah Green. I thought Astrid Parker was good. I'm not as excited about Iris Kelly, but I've really been struggling with romance in this last year. And actually I'll talk about it more in another video that's upcoming, but I do think one of my reading goals for 2024 is that I want to fall back in love with romance again. This is definitely one I do want to finish because I only have 1 book left in this series, but it's not a super high priority. So maybe not that I'm excited to finish it, but I am wanting to finish it. Along those lines, I am also wanting to finish the Indian Lake Trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. The last book comes out early next year, and I am very anticipating the finale because I was not a horror reader until I read My Heart is a Chainsaw this year, and now I am a horror reader. So I don't know what Stephen Graham Jones puts in his books, but apparently it really works for me. And more, not even that this book made me a horror reader. This book made me realize that I really love slasher books, which is not something I would have put on my 2023 reading bingo board. Like, no, I could not have predicted that if I tried. I'm also looking forward to continuing the Mid-Solar Murder series by Mur Lafferty. I read book 1 this year too. Why am I telling you that I read books this year? That's the whole point of this video. It's so... Anyways, this is Murder Mystery series set in space. It was a fun time. I have no idea where the next mystery is gonna go, but the setup for book 1 is that our main character, I think her name is Mallory. We're just gonna trust my memory, which might be a mistake, but that's what we're gonna do. It has a habit of people always dying around her, and then she inadvertently ends up solving those murders. But she's tired of, people dying around her, and then her getting blamed for the murders, and then her having to solve them for the police or the FBI or whoever. And so in this world, aliens, have popped down to Earth and been like, hey, how's it going? And so she ends up getting put on this space station where she is the only human in existence, because she just basically figures that if she surrounds herself with alien life, nobody will die anymore. And I thought the alien races, the variety and the non-humanness of all the different alien races was really creative and interesting. I thought Mallory was a fun main character, and it was such a romp. And I really like Mur Lafferty's other book. And so 6 Weeks, I read that a couple years ago. I thought it's a very different tone, but also like a really fun, interesting book. So, and I think book 2 is already out, so I'm excited to see where that series continues to go. This one is all backlist. So, but my middle kid got really into Becky Albertalli this year. Like, obsessed. Has read Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda like 3 times, and they are not a rereader at all. So that's a really big deal. And so I read Simon earlier to like share that experience with them, and I ended up really liking it. I thought it was a really wonderful contemporary YA book, and so I really want to continue that series. I did start the second one, and I wasn't as interested in those characters as I was in Simon, but I definitely want to pick up the novella, and I want to pick up Leah on the Offbeat, which I believe is the conclusion to that Love Simon series, or the Simon verse series. I don't even, what's it called? Maybe that's not what it's called. I don't know what the actual name is, but I do want to finish this series. Oh, I really, really want to finish the Cute Mutant series this year. This is by S.J. Whitby. These books are so fun. These books are set in New Zealand, I think. And our main character, Dylan, and her friends are at a party, and they all end up kissing the same girl during that party. And when they wake up in the morning, they all have mutant abilities. But these are not like X-Men mutant abilities. Like, Dylan's mutant ability is that she can talk to inanimate objects and they will talk back to her. So everyone has these very weird, odd mutant abilities, and they basically become like their own ragtag X-Man team. Anyways, and I've read the first 2 books. I have a really great time with this series every time. It's very queer. There's a lot of different representation. There's a lot of talk of found family and community, but then also like uniting together to fight the big bad, and it's a great adventure book, and I just have such a fun time every time I pick up a volume of it. And I know S.J. Whitby has a bunch of books. I think that they might have horror book out now, but all their books are super queer, and I really want to read all of their backlist as well as finishing the Cute Mutant series. The next series I want to continue with is the Death Touched of York series by Rosie Talbot. I read 16 Souls. 12 Bones just came out, I think just in the UK in the fall. I don't think it's available in the US yet, but I would say this is great for fans who also like Cemetery Boys. It's got kind of similar vibes. We've got a kid who can see ghosts and talk to ghosts, and then there's a mystery with the ghosts starting to disappear, and so he goes and tries to figure out what's happening to his friends, and There's a really fun magic system in this world, and the main character, I can't remember his name. Main character, he is disabled, and I think that rep is really well done, and I am just excited to see what else Rosie does. And I don't know if the series is complete with only 2 books or if she's going to write more. Okay, this next series, Fantastic Fiction says it's a series. I have no confirmation. There is not a book 2 listed. There is no information from the author on whether or not there's actually going to be a series. But if there is, it is the Saint Death series. Book 1 was Saint Death's Daughter by C.S.E. Cooney, which was a surprise hit for me. I did not anticipate loving this book as much as I did, but it has such a quirky narrative voice, and this world is so delightfully odd and unusual and dark and cozy. I think when I first read it, I was describing it as Gideon the Ninth, but if Gideon liked pink and sparkles on everything. It's so, I don't know, it's very unique. I have not read very many books as unique as Saint Death's Daughter is. So I'm hoping this is going to be a series. I hope that's correct information. If it's not, I'm going to be kind of sad. But I am very much looking forward to this. The premise of this book, I can't explain the plot. There's too much. Every time I thought I knew what the plot was, something would happen and I'd be lost again. So you just gotta like buckle down, or sit down, buckle up, and like be along for the ride and not worry about trying to figure out where it's going. But the premise for this is, what if there was a necromancer who was allergic to violence? Like literally allergic to violence. It was a good time. All right, we have 2 series left. The second to last is Kingdoms and Empires. Is that the one I think it is? Okay, I think that's the series that starts with the extremely inconvenient adventures of Bronte Meddleston. And then the second book is The Whispering Wars. And then the third book is The Stolen Prince of Cloudburst. And then there is a 4th book out, and that's the one I still need to read. This is a middle grade series. That, again, is kind of quirky and weird. Each book could maybe be read as a standalone. Each one involves different characters set in this world, though there usually are cameos of characters from different books in subsequent books. And I don't even know how to describe it. This is by Jacqueline Moriarty, who is Leanne Moriarty's sister. And I always have a good time. This is kind of similar to, I guess, Sinister Summer, where it's very funny, very tongue-in-cheek, quirky. Like, the story never goes quite the direction I think it's going to go, but I always have a good time when I'm reading them. And then the last series on my list is the Galactic Love series. This is by Anne Aguirre. I think that's how you say her last name. And this series starts with Strange Love, which is about a woman who is accidentally abducted from Earth because the alien thinks he is going to a planet to meet a alien that he matched with on like an alien dating site thing. But his GPS in his ship malfunctions. There's a miscommunication and takes him to Earth instead. And the human woman, anyways, it's just a miscommunication. And then she gets abducted and taken back to his planet. And then they fall in love because it's a romance. Anyways, again, funny, weird, very creative. I thought the author did such a good job of making the alien actually alien. Like, his anatomy and her anatomy are not compatible at all. And so I really loved the exploration of how do you be physically intimate with somebody when your parts are not designed to be compatible with each other. And so, yeah, it was very creative, very sweet, and I had a great time with it, and I'm really excited to continue in that series. That's structured like a traditional romance series where I believe each book is a different couple. So yeah, that is my list of series that I am excited to continue with in 2024. I didn't conclude every single series on here because I know I have a bunch that I'm caught up with. So, and I'm really good about reading those as they come out. So like, obviously I didn't mention the Wayward Children series or a Lady Sherlock series. Like those are series where I don't have to put any effort into continuing them because I just do it automatically. So I didn't include those ones, but I know I'll be talking about those books as they come out next year. So if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and spending your precious time with me. I really appreciate it. If you would like to leave a comment, I would love to know what series you are looking forward to next year. And if you want to leave a comment but you don't have anything to say, let's do a heart emoji, because we love continuing the series. And I will talk to you all in the next one.